com, the home for intelligent Black people. It's so good to see everybody. As you come into the chat, put your B1, put your thumbs up. Let us know what city you're from. I see Jerry Early's from Los Angeles. Jerry Early is early, so it's good to see you, Jerry. And today we're going to talk about Black Wall Street. We're going to talk about a lot of this hidden history on Black Wall Street that our people should know about, that we're just now learning about. And we are turning to the teachers in the community who can actually tell us about it and give us the information that we need. So as you guys come in and hit the thumbs up button, I'd like to welcome our very special guest for today. His name is Cody Ransom. Cody's out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. And this brother is I don't know if he refers to himself as a Black Wall Street expert, but I feel like he's an expert. And he also runs the Liquid, is it called the Liquid Lounge? Is that right?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
Black Wall Street Liquid Lounge, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so right on Black Wall Street, the Black Wall Street Liquid Lounge, which everybody should check it out. When you go to Tulsa and you do your tour of Black Wall Street in the Greenwood section, you got to go to the Black Wall Street Liquid Lounge. So I'd like to ask my brother, how you doing today, man?
Man, I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm doing great, man. Absolutely wonderful. It's just so great to see you. And I'm going to say hi to some of the family that's just walked in. Shout out your city when you come in. I see Shocks 112, Deborah Evans, King Cooper, Cameron Kelly, Terry Cobb out of Atlanta. Good to see you. Byron Reeder, good to see you also. All right, so let's hop into the conversation, man. So just so y'all know, this brother Cody, he has agreed to come into the Black Business School and give us probably one of the most important history lessons that you'll ever get. I met Cody when I went to Black Wall Street and we did a tour. My brother wanted me to go on Cody's tour because he said it was so good. And I was just floored. I mean, I was floored because not just is the brother very knowledgeable about what he's talking about, but he also told me a lot of things about Black Wall Street that I didn't know, that I don't think most people know. And I'd like to ask you this question, man. So, Cody, how long have you been doing tours on Black Wall Street?
I've been doing tours for about 3.5 years now. But I've been studying Greenwood probably a little bit over 25 years. So it's been a long time.
Okay. And what are some of the reactions you've seen from people that have, when they get there and you tell them, so let's start with the beginner. Let's talk about just folks that don't know nothing about what happened, the massacre. What are some of the typical responses you've seen from people when they get there and you do the tour and then they find out everything that happened to our people, what was taken, etc.?
Yeah, the biggest reaction is really tears are the first thing you normally see. Just because we've heard about different Black towns being burned. It's just the method that was used in Greenwood was just so egregious. It's hard to really comprehend, what actually happened. But when you walk the streets, it does still have kind of a heavy feel to it when you're out there. So just knowing, like, how could I not have heard this? That's a comment I get a lot. We didn't learn anything about it, or that, I thought it was just this one street small race riot and that was it. So and then the biggest nugget that especially Black people never know is that Oklahoma was supposed to be the first all-Black state. So once they learn about the Black statehood and what Oklahoma was supposed to be, it throws people through a loop. And once they realize that had this become a Black state, Tulsa was the oil capital of the world for a little bit over 20 years. So had it become a Black state before that, then all of that oil money and wealth would have been ours at that point. So we lost more than just Black Wall Street when we lost Greenwood, but Oklahoma in general was supposed to be for the Black people.
So how many of y'all knew? Give me a yes or no in the chat. Everybody, give me a yes or no in the chat. How many of y'all knew that Oklahoma was supposed to be an all-Black state? How many of y'all knew that? I didn't know that. I had no idea that Oklahoma was supposed to be an all-Black state. And you're right. There's a lot of resources there. Now, let me ask you this, Cody. When they made the decision to not let Oklahoma be an all-Black state, was it because of the oil, or what was going on with that?
The main thing was the oil. It was said that this was oil territory, and if Blacks were allowed to control the oil, we could cripple America's economy. So that was one of the biggest fears. It was President Harrison, and that would have been Roosevelt as well. E.P. McCabe is the one who filed the paperwork. He was from Kansas, but he filed the paperwork to apply for statehood, and they got all the way to a vote, and that's what ended up pushing the vote, was They didn't want black people to control the oil in the U.S. One of the fears is that we would sell the oil to rival countries, which geographically there's no way to get the oil over to Russia without going through Texas. But for some reason, that ended up being the excuse used. So that was 1906 when that was applied for. And then in 1907, a group of Klansmen applied for statehood, and that's when Oklahoma became a state in 1907. So,
Real. Okay, wait. A group of Klansmen applied for statehood, and
yeah.
they formed the state based on the application from the group of Klansmen.
And that's what ended up getting Oklahoma to become a state. So we still have quite a few black towns, but back then we had more black towns than anywhere in the U.S. Part of that reason was the 5 civilized tribes actually owned enslaved people too. So as those people earned their freedom, they became freedmen from their tribes, and they were given land allotments. So a lot of those land allotments ended up turning into black towns. So we had, I know Boley was the biggest one, but it's Boley, Redbird, Tallahassee, Renniesville, Tatum's, Clearview, Taft, Zion, Vernon. Yeah, there were so many of them just in this one territory.
Mm. Okay, so that's heavy. You know, that's a see. So do y'all understand why I'm really happy to talk to this brother? I hope y'all get why. You know, this is the second time Cody's come in here, and this is obviously we all know that the Black Wall Street story is one that all of our kids need to know. You know, y'all need to stop letting the kids get educated on Black history by people who are not Black. Like that's the first thing, and, you know, and then the second thing is there's a lot of this story that just gets hidden. They buried it, you know, and so I think that before we go out celebrating what these rappers are doing, or these athletes, or what they're doing, or these comedians and what they're doing, we also need to listen to our teachers and those who have knowledge that they're passing on. And Cody's one of those guys. And so one of the things I want to let you guys know about that we're doing in the Black Business Schools, we partnered with Cody, and we're actually going to do a hidden history of Black Wall Street masterclass. It's a 4-week class you can sign up for. You can actually go to my website. I put the link right there at the top of my website. Just look for it right at the very top. You go to boycewatkins.com. I put it right there. We're going to get started in a few days. I want to say December 9th, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right, Cody?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 4 weeks. The material is yours forever. And I want you to bring your whole family. I want you to bring your mama, your daddy, your sisters, your children, your cousin, them, everybody, because I guarantee you that when you hear this brother's entire layout of Black Wall Street, it's going to blow your mind. I don't care if you already think you know the story. You don't know the story if you ain't heard it from this brother. I'm telling you. So, Cody, let me ask you this question, man. What do you know about the civilized tribes? You know, I recall Dr. Claude Anderson kind of giving a sense that the 5 civilized tribes, that they had an interesting kind of almost peculiar connection to Black people in America. Can you kind of give us like your assessment on some of that?
Yeah, so the 5 civilized tribes are who ended up settling here in Oklahoma, but they were considered to be civilized for 2 reasons. One reason was because they had given up the fight for their property in the East Coast. And secondly, because they practiced the business of slavery as well. So they enslaved African Americans too. So that's what actually made them civilized. So when they came to Oklahoma during the Trail of Tears, there were over 100,000 African American people who died during that Trail of Tears as well. So at the time, we were not allowed to be on horseback or in covered wagons. So during that walk from Georgia to Carolinas, Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, Black people made that same journey during the Trail of Tears. So here in Oklahoma, quite a few of the Black people are actually mixed. Almost all of them are either Creek or Cherokee or Choctaw or Chickasaw, Osage. So they didn't want Black people to stay on the reservations with them. So when you became a freedman, you were given land right outside of the reservation, which is why when you go to where the Black towns are, uh, they're typically pretty close to a reservation, a Native American reservation. So it was a way of not having to split the benefits. So a freedman wouldn't get the exact amount of land allotment that a full-blooded native would, but you would get some, and you were entitled to that. So that's where Henry Dawes created the Dawes Roll, and from there, that was their way of tracking Native Americans. But that's where the $5 Indian thing comes in, where you could pay $5 to replace a black person on the Dawes roll. And so once you did that, you were able to take the land allotment that was supposed to be for that African American family. So it's quite a bit of Oklahoma was taken illegally from natives, but also from the African American community that was here too.
Hmm. Wow. That's it's real funny, man, when you say these things. And I know every time I hear you talk about it, I start. I don't know about everybody else in here. Y'all give me a yes or no if you feel the same way. But I get a little angry, a little bit upset. It's just it's infuriating, not just to hear what happened to our people and what was taken from our people, but also it's triply infuriating that it was hidden. This information is hidden from our people, and what it also makes me think about, and I want everybody to kind of peep this out. Is when I find out about one thing that you've hidden from me, I'm thinking about the other 200 or 300 things that you've hidden from me that I don't know about.
Yeah.
Like it's like in your house, if you see one roach,
Yeah.
there ain't no such thing as one
Yeah.
roach or one rat. You
Yeah.
got a whole nest.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
so so let
Yeah.
me ask you this, man. And everybody, I'm speaking with Cody Ransom. He is the CEO and founder of the Black Wall Street Liquid Lounge in Tulsa. He does an extraordinary tour. He has an extraordinary business. If you go to Tulsa, anywhere near Tulsa, I encourage you to even just make a family trip. Go to this brother's business. Like this, great. They have great service, great food, great drinks, and a great tour. It's something you cannot miss. And everybody, do me a favor as you come in, hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share. Make sure you subscribe. When you subscribe, this is very important. Be sure to hit the notification bell, and then give me a B1 in the chat after you do this. Hit that notification bell so that you'll be notified when we go live. That way they can't shadow ban the channel. You'll be notified when we get to talking. I promise you, I'll bring you good stuff. And so, Cody, how does it feel like when you were, first of all, I want to know what inspired you. And actually, okay, I'm sorry. Miss Brown is asking for the link to Cody's masterclass that starts December 9th. Yeah, he's going to do his Black Wall Street masterclass in the Black Business School. You can go to BoyceWatkins.com. Just go to BoyceWatkins.com and you can sign up for the masterclass. And then the Black Wall Street Liquid Lounge. I'll try to Google that and drop a link in the chat too for that. But Cody, so what drove you to just do all this research anyway? Like how did this even begin for you?
It was kind of similar to what you're saying. Like I found out just one lie, and it just kind of snowballed from there. I grew up in Greenwood, so I still live about 1.5 miles away. My grandmother used to get her hair done on Greenwood. She went to church at Vernon, which is the historic church in Greenwood. So I always knew that she looked sad a lot going down there. It was never just like really fun for her, but she couldn't stay away from Greenwood. So just finally, I ended up finding out these plaques that are in the ground. I saw one of them. It was the Dreamland Theater. It was the very first plaque I'd ever seen. So I'm asking my grandma, like, well, there's never been a theater on the north side of town. And she's like, well, yeah, it was one. It was there back in the early 1900s, and then it got burned, and then it got rebuilt. And so then I'm like, oh, okay. So then what happened? She's like, well, they built that highway and they tore it down. So that's when I started, okay, well, let me figure out what else got torn down. I watched a movie about Madam C.J. Walker, and then I happened to be on Greenwood again a couple of days later and saw a plaque that had Madam C.J. Walker's name on it. So she had a beauty parlor in Black Wall Street. So everything that I read about her in the movies never said that she had a beauty parlor in Greenwood. But there's one there, and it's on the monuments. It's a plaque for it. Mabel B. Little, which was one of the pioneers in Greenwood, she ran it, Madam C.J. Walker's Beauty Parlor. So from there, it just kind of snowballed into, okay, I'm going to find a few businesses, figure out what they were. When I was a little younger, I wanted to recreate a couple of them. But then I started to see how many businesses it actually was. And then that's when I ran into the number 197. My grandmother finally told me there were 197 different businesses burned in Greenwood. So that's when I knew that I couldn't recreate the businesses of Greenwood. It was too many, but that kind of sparked it from there. And then there's a monument in Greenwood that has a list of insurance claims that people filed. I saw my grandmother's maiden name on it, so I asked her about that. And that's when she just casually was like, well, yeah, my uncle had a grocery store down there. And so now got a little more personal. So then, before it was personal, I did a lot of research, but once it became full circle for me and my family, I kind of dove in a little more, and then that's when I started to find just Oklahoma history in general, and then all the other Black massacres that happened across the U.S. And so, again, once you open that door, I guarantee, like, you'll research the city you grow up in, and something similar most likely happened there, whether it's urban renewal or a massacre like Greenwood.
Mm. So it was almost like there was like a systematic nationwide effort to
Mhm.
really sort of undermine a lot of Black economic progress, but
Yeah,
particularly when it came to building those freeways, they
yeah,
always strategically built them through our neighborhoods.
yeah.
That's real interesting, man. So yeah, I'll tell you, man, it's such a interesting thing. And one thing that really surprised me was when I found out that a lot of local people in the Tulsa Greenwood area don't really even know the whole history of Black Wall Street. Has that gotten much better? I remember hearing this a few years ago, but is that
Mhm.
still true that that a lot of kids that are going to public school don't know a whole lot about what happened in their own community?
Yeah, it's still true. Last year they passed a bill saying we could teach about Black Wall Street history, and then maybe 3 weeks after that, we our governor signed another bill about critical race theory. So technically, I'm a school teacher by day, and I can't teach Black Wall Street history in my classroom. If I do, I have to say Group A and Group B, and I cannot say what Group A or what Group B looks like. So it has to be completely subjective. The only way I could do it is if I knew. So Dr. A.C. Jackson was a prominent doctor here that was killed during the massacre. So I can mention Dr. A.C. Jackson's murder, but I can't say who did what, because I don't know the name of the person who did it, and I don't have. There's no court documents or anything to say that this person killed this person. I can say that he died and he was killed by a citizen of Tulsa. I just can't say what that person looks like. And if I do, as a school teacher, you lose your license to teach. You can be sued civilly, and your school can lose some accreditation. So it's a very big deal here. So right after we were approved to talk about it, that was put in place to where we couldn't. So even we can talk about the Holocaust in full detail, but you cannot talk about Greenwood's history at all.
Hmm. Interesting. Okay, so I don't know about everybody else in here, but it sounds to me. So what Cody is saying, Cody Ransom, that's his name. He's the CEO of Black Wall Street Liquid Lounge, and we're talking about the Black Wall Street massacre. So it sounds to me like what Cody is saying is that they've been passing laws in his state and in other states that basically say in the public schools we can't really teach the whole truth about things that have happened to our people, things that are documented. I don't know about y'all, but give me a yes or no in the chat if you agree that means we need to really focus our energy on educating ourselves and educating each other. Give me a yes in the chat if you agree that this is what is required right now, that we absolutely must commit ourselves to educating ourselves and educating each other. Give me a yes in the chat if you understand that, if you agree. Also, give me a yes if that is what you're going to do. I need y'all to do this. See, I need y'all to understand you don't really need a public school system to teach you Black history. There's Black history all over the place. There's brilliant people like Cody and others out here that have all kinds of knowledge right there for you. I'm a professor. I have more education than 99% of the people that are teaching in the public school system. I'm here talking to y'all every day. So we have access to our own thinkers, our own scholars, our own leaders, and we have to pay attention to those individuals that have that information, have that knowledge. We got to pay as much attention to the Cody Ransoms as we do to the LeBron Jameses. No disrespect to LeBron. He can teach you to play basketball. Cody's going to teach you how to play economic basketball, how to compete in the game of Black history and economics. Right? He's going to teach you all about Black Wall Street. So we need players on all positions in this game. And so Cody, so one of the things we're doing in the Black Business Schools, we are partnering with Cody on a barely fairly priced masterclass that's going to literally break down over 4 weeks. He put together a whole curriculum that we're going to help him distribute to the community on exactly what happened in Black Wall Street. The fee is it's $199 for 4 weeks. The material is yours for life. And actually today, if you want to sign up now, we actually took 52% off the price. So it makes it a little bit less than $100 if I'm not mistaken, and that is for something that is probably more valuable than anything you've ever learned in college, anything you learned in a public school, and it's the kind of stuff that will make a big difference in the lives of your children, things like that. It's also our process of developing our own version of the public school system. This is our public school system, Cody. Like to me,
Yeah.
every Wednesday night we're reading Powernomics books, we're reading Black History books, and I'm going through them word for word because at the end of the day, man, and I'd like to get your thoughts on this. I think we have to think outside the box. Like, why? I don't really think we're ever going to get the truth inside a system anyway, not a system like that. What do you think?
I think so, because what when we teach Native American history, Native Americans have a form of reparation here in Oklahoma. So they're the only ones allowed to have casinos. All of the casino revenue goes to the tribes. No, you can't have a casino or a smoke shop in Oklahoma unless you're Native. So we can teach their history because they already have somewhat of a resolution to what happened to them. Ours is still not solved. It's still not rectified. So our story is still unfolding. So I think that with Black history, one of the reasons we don't teach it in school here is because of why they passed the critical race theory bill. These kids are they go to school with Black kids. They grow up around Black kids. And if you were to tell them that, yeah, everything you have is because of these advantages, because these things happen to your neighbors. So these kids are more prone to try to fix the problem. So it's okay. Well, just don't tell them that there's a problem. If you never tell them it's a problem, they won't try to fix it. And so I see that a lot being a school teacher, um, just the way the kids interact, Black and white. These kids are, like I said, they're listening to the same music, they're playing the same sports, they're hanging out together. So when one finds out that the other is dealing with an issue, the younger ones are wanting to find out how they can help. So I think it's definitely a system of, okay, well, let's not, let's keep them from that. And let's keep us from that. They used to say if you wanted to hide anything from Black people, you put it in a book. But that's because we weren't picking up the right books. We would read, as you said, we would read books. Zane novels is something a lot of people read. Like we'll read fictional novels all the time, but when it comes to nonfiction and history, this stuff reads as if it's fiction. When you learn Greenwood's history, it sounds like a movie. It sounds like something that's unbelievable, but it's true. And to know that places like Lake Lanier right outside Atlanta, that was a Black town too, and it's got a whole story attached to it, Oscarville, Georgia. So if you wanted to learn, and it's some sort of entertainment because you're reading it and it's unfolding like a movie. So I think that yeah, we owe ourselves that, and that's one of the things that part of my family is African, and that's one thing that my African side always stressed was you'll never be able to tell them you don't know history. There's other things that you may not know, but the history is there. You just have to go find it. And once you do, like you said, if you find a piece of it, you're gonna want to try to figure out the whole thing and put the whole puzzle together. And I think that, I enjoy doing my part of it, and then meeting people from out of town, and then them telling me about their neighborhoods and their cities. And so now it's more that I could gotta go research, and especially here in the Midwest, a lot of these people are connected. The people who founded Tulsa were Klansmen. Tate Brady was in East St. Louis in 1917. So 1917 is when the Red Summer starts in East St. Louis. So I haven't been able to find anything that says he participated, but he happened to be there at that time. And then he happened to be the person who lent his planes to the mob to bomb Greenwood. So finding these ties, it's like I haven't been able to definitively prove that he was participating in East St. Louis, but it's enough to find that he was there. And so we watch enough Criminal Minds and Law and Order. We could try to solve all these crimes. It's the same thing, man. We have so many different things that have happened to us. It's something one of the elders in Greenwood told me. He used to always say that we know Emmett Till's name, but you can't mention the people who killed him. Most people don't know the names of the men who killed him. So those people got to live a peaceful life because no one knew who they were. Versus we will talk about we talk about the victim. So instead of talking about the whole thing in its totality, that's what happened to Greenwood. We don't know the name of one white individual who helped burn or kill people. We just know that it was white people. We can't name one person, and it's because we never passed down those names as well as the story. So
Wow, man, that's heavy. You got me googling, man. That just so y'all know, for the record, the men who killed Emmett Till. Do you happen to know off the top of your head, Cody?
it was Bryant. I can't remember the other one.
Roy Bryant
Yeah,
and J.W. Millam.
that's the one I always forget. J.W. Miller.
Yep,
Yep.
Roy Bryant and J.W. Millam. All right, so Roy Bryant, and J.W. Millam. Millam. So type Bryant and Millam in the chat. Bryant, just like Kobe Bryant.
Yep.
And Millam, Millam. We need to make them super famous because you are right. You got me thinking. I was like, wow, that's so deep. We never, nobody talks about who killed Emmett Till.
Yeah.
We only talk about Emmett. That's wow. That's heavy, man. So, by the way, I'm speaking with Cody Ransom. Cody Ransom is the CEO and founder of the Black Wall Street Liquid Lounge in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Cody is joining us in the Black Business School for a Black Wall Street Masterclass that starts on December 9th. It's 4 weeks where he's going to basically break down all these things you did not know about Black Wall Street. When I tell you all that it's not sort of something that you would find anywhere else, I mean that. I knew a lot about Black Wall Street when I met Cody. He told me a lot of things I did not know. And I think you need to know the whole story. And I also encourage you to bring your kids, bring your family. If you'd like to join, you can go to boycewatkins.com. I think they put up a coupon code so you can actually get half off or about 52% off since it's Cyber Monday and everything else. And that's the next offering that we have in the Black Business School. So feel free to go to my website. It's right there and you can sign up. And I hope you'll join us because as y'all can see, this brother's the truth. Now, I want to ask you one last question, Cody, before we get on out of here. What would you say if you just right off the top of the dome had like one like major thing about Black Wall Street that people don't know? Like I'll give you a second to think about it. What would you say would be kind of like the first thing that comes to mind?
Most people don't know that Black Wall Street was in the Green Book for the traveling Negro motorists.
Really?
Yeah, it was in there all the way up until 1967. So
really,
30. So that's the rebuild of Greenwood. So most people think Black Wall Street was burned in 1921, and that's when it stopped. It actually ran until 1969. So Greenwood was in that book until about 1965, I believe. So that's the part that most people don't know. Or Madam C.J. Walker having a beauty parlor there. Or the very first family in Oklahoma to own multiple movie theaters was a black family in Greenwood, which was Lula and John Williams.
wow. How cool is that? That I don't know about y'all, but that gives me pride. I mean, I know it's a tragic story, but it's great when you get to hear really strong reflections of Black communities and Black economics and Black people just being successful and proud, even though it ended in tragedy. Some injustices occurred, but it does really put a new twist on history that goes beyond just saying, okay, Black people, we were these broken, downtrodden ex-slaves, until white folks decided to let us go to their schools and live in their neighborhoods. I don't want to hear all that, man. I want to hear, and I think the community's hungry for that. I think the community is saying, okay, there's got to be more to us than somehow just saying we were just all blessed with integration.
Yeah.
You can think what you want by integration, but to me, that's not the ultimate blessing because these other people, they're not my guides. So you accepting me does not mean that was the greatest thing I've ever accomplished, that we've accomplished as a people. No, we've accepted ourselves, and we did that long before anybody else accepted us. And I think it's important to talk about that to honor our ancestors, man. So I want to say thank you, Cody, for doing what you do, man. This is excellent stuff, brother.
Yeah, no problem. And also, I know with the business class, the way it works too, if you do get it, if you ever come to Tulsa, Oklahoma, I give you a free tour. So it's part of it. It's all you have to do is just let me know when you're coming, and I'll schedule a time out, and we'll do the walking tour together. So it's like I said, I like to treat everybody who comes to the wood, as we call it. I want to treat you like family. So we'll have a drink, have something to eat, and then head out and take a look at it. So
There you go. I love that, man. I think that's great. So yeah, so it's y'all family. So if you join the class and go through Cody's digital class, which happens on December 9th, I put the link on my website, boycewatkins.com. It's right there at the top. You can go sign up right now. Cody has said it. I didn't even know he was going to say this, but you go up there, he'll give you the free walk-in tour. And I'm telling you all, I'm giving you like a complete unconditional endorsement and letting y'all know it'll blow your mind. And if it doesn't, there's no way it won't. Like it was that good. And I wouldn't say that if I hadn't experienced that myself. So thanks a lot, Cody, man. It was great to see you again, brother.
you too, brother. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. All right, everybody, please have a good night. And it was great talking to y'all. And I'm going to check back in with y'all a little bit later. And don't forget, the class starts December 9th, and it is called The Hidden History of Black Wall Street. And it's 4 weeks. All the material is yours for life. There's a 52% discount for the next 24 hours. You can bring your whole family. I encourage you to do that because we are the educational system in our community. We control the education of our people. We decide what culture is going to be taught, not the public schools. Okay, so throw that out the window. Stop worshiping them, folks. You can do it on your own. We getting it done now. So God bless you, everybody. Have a good night, and we'll see you soon. Take care now.